Peace. Greetings, folks. I'm your host, Cujo Brown,
I'm your other host, the bad guy.
and we are in the Cypher. Folks, thank you for joining us one more time for another session. We have June 5th, 2026, I think.
We're
I don't,
we're already halfway done with this dumpster fire. Well, almost halfway done with the dumpster fire.
man, a hell of a freaking year, to say the least, man. A hell of a year. And still a lot more to go and still a lot more to do.
Mm,
And we got to keep tabs on it. So we're trying to keep you up to date and fresh. Everything good with you, bad guy? What's the deal?
yeah, man, everything's everything, man. Life is life, and again, but nothing crazy. I say that like the last time we said that it was crazy shit. Nah, it's just the same old stuff, man. Getting ready for summer break, and then my wife is gonna be homeschooling my youngest one for the
Oh,
first year, first
okay.
2 years.
Okay.
There's an autism centric public school in our area, but they don't start accepting students till second grade. I mean third grade. I
Really?
keep saying second.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, it's not. I said public. It's private, but we get funding through the public schools in Florida. So it is a private school, but it is publicly funded in Florida. So we're gonna enroll her there in the third grade. But I don't feel comfortable sending her in first grade to a school where it's not specialized for her.
I got it. Completely understand, man. I think it's important that let's just say, putting our children first is one of the biggest things we could do in our lives. There, to
Hmm.
me, people make the argument, a car, a house is your greatest investment. Nah, it's children, bro.
The
It's
only
children,
reason your
man.
house is your greatest investment is because your children live in it. Listen, we've gone over this before. I could do it a lot less if it wasn't for them. I
Yeah.
really spend in the physical, what you would consider the house part of my property. I spend maybe an hour a day in there. I live in the garage. The house is for them, literally. Literally,
Mm,
it's for them.
mm. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. You gotta, hey, look, some of the things we do are sacrifices, man, and it's to be
Mhm.
commended. Whenever we can do it, it's to be commended, man. You know?
Amen to that.
you know. So let's dive into this. Yeah. First off, we had a gentleman by the name, and what we're going to get into first off, to give some context, is overseer class. And this is not something relatively new, but the conversation by this professor and slash journalist, Steven Thrasher, was really fascinating. And he has a book called Overseer Class, hint, hint, Black Cops Pro Palestine DEI. So, really dope work. And part of the reason why is because he's talking about the fact that in order for us to even reach people, to like get our hands on the people that are quote unquote the overseers dominating and ruling most of the economy and most of our day to day functions without even having contact with us,
Hmm.
there's an overseer class. And black cops are classified in that class. They are definitely put into that realm. There are other groups as well, other people. One would even consider Obama an overseer class, right?
You also have a buffer class. We're going to get into that later, but just
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
foreshadowing. What I think what Cujo's trying to get at is the elites have their ways of dealing with us poors that involve them dealing with other
of course.
mid managerial groups. Essentially, what you're describing is a mid manager.
Sort of. These are people that are physically in the way, and
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
say
yeah.
the manager.
They're managing us on the bottom, keeping us away from them on the top.
Yeah, the managerial class is a little bit different. So the managerial class, there's a professor, managerial class book. There's a professor, I keep forgetting her name. She really does some great work on this. She speaks with Christopher Hedgenson quite often in regards to this. And one of the things, yes, her name is Catherine Liu. If anybody wants to check her out, she does some great work about exactly what the bad guy's talking about, which is there's a managerial class, and that managerial class doesn't necessarily have to physically put their hands on you, but they're those class of people that are quote unquote, how can I say, like your directors,
Hmm.
your supervisors, your managers, the ones that pretty much push the status quo. And she speaks very much in depth on this. She has some work, definitely, if you're curious about that as well, because I do think that's extremely important. She also does some work on hoarding. virtue whores, but yeah, yeah. I mean, she's good, man. I got to give it to her. So there's some really good work there. Now, Steven Thrasher is more focused on the physical side. Like he speaks to black cops, he speaks to the IDF, and what he
Okay.
found, right, is talking about the difference when you go to South Africa and why were the majority of South Africans that were enforcing apartheid African? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, no, I get what you're saying.
it's not like here where they're the dominant class of people. Majority of people in America are white, and the majority of them are cops. No, no, no. It's the same thing being done, which is
They were controlling them with their through their own people.
yeah, yeah. And it's fascinating. And what he kept on going on is just the fact that this is becoming a major shift now because that group, the group that is the strong arm of the wealthy is the quote unquote the NYPD, the
Hmm.
LAPD, the Florida PD, like everywhere you go, they have to implement their strong arm will. And you see
Hmm.
that with what? With ICE, who, by the way, today folks got, I believe, $70 billion of more
Yep.
funding.
Was that passed at like 5 something in the morning?
Man, what are we gonna do, bro? What are you gonna do? You know, I think
Every time you ask that question, it seems like the options are narrower and narrower.
well, what do you think about this? This is a good question, which is in the early stages before the hammer has been down, before the data mining and surveillance has been so heavy, there was a point where people could have pushed back. And this was during the early 80s, late 80s and such forth, and Ronald Reagan era where he
Hmm.
started doing things, and even Bill Clinton, where he outsourced so much and put in, the three strikes laws. There were so many areas where people could have pushed back. And do you think right now we're at a point that the only way for us to actually push back is for the following? Hear me out. Some lives will be lost. There will be some heavy doses of violence that will range for a certain amount of time. It's not going to last forever, by the way. People think revolts and revolutions last forever. It's a quick spike, a couple of days, and then it's done. Like it's not
Well, the tumultuous part of it is done, but it doesn't mean that the festivities, for lack of a
right.
better word, it doesn't mean the festivities have ended.
Right, right, absolutely. And that's a part that I think we need to kind of pay attention to. But I do believe that this is an issue that we are past that point of just marching and everything gets shut down. And I think
I
we're
think
past that.
I don't think
What do
we
you
were
think?
ever at the point where we would have shut everything down.
You think so?
We've had reason for a general strike numerous times in my lifetime, and
Hmm.
we've never done it. You've seen it done overseas. We can barely get together to support union workers who have the right by contract to strike,
Mm,
right?
mm.
We can't even get behind those guys and support them, knowing I'm speaking specifically about, was it the longshoremen
Yeah,
last year?
yeah, correct.
And half the country was like, fuck them. The other half of the country was like, well, that's going to make my shit cost more.
I think one of the things that, as far as that you're mentioning and you're hinting at it, which is there's a level of conditioning that Americans have definitely accepted, and that's the century of self. It's kind of been like, like it's just been about me and only me. And if it's not about me, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to keep. I don't want no parts of it. You
Look,
know.
they convinced a generation of Americans whose parenting generation were not mostly, but largely union members, that unions that allowed them to grow up in middle class homes were bad.
Mm,
Right? We've convinced Americans that meaningful health care done in an affordable way is not good for America.
hmm
I
hmm
was just reading an article, not to hijack this, but I was just reading an
Please,
article
please.
about China has some new technology that helps regrow teeth. And the snarky comment on it was, we can't even get teeth on a healthcare plan in America.
So I heard something similar in Germany. They have an actual way of regenerating bone, like strength, like the
Mm.
ligaments within the bones and knees, especially
Hmm.
to allow people to, obviously live longer, bend their knees and stuff. They're already doing stuff like that. It's successful, and they're probably in the process of approving it. check it out, folks, and find out some details on that if you want to.
Is it a drug we can slap a high price on and then ensure that you need more drugs because this drug will give you all sorts of wild side effects?
Drug? This ain't no drug. This is a one-time operation, sir.
Oh,
They can't make money off of that.
yeah, that's not going to happen.
Can't make money. Come on, it's about that money, you know?
Mind you, what does Trump call it? Shithole Cuba
Yeah.
has better doctors per capita than we do.
Isn't that incredible?
Cuba's doctors are so good that Cuban professors are exported around the world to teach medicine the way they learned it in Cuba.
Absolutely.
God bless
Absolutely.
communism.
Absolutely. They're also in Jamaica. They're in a bunch of countries in Africa.
Hmm.
Yeah. And they've tried to stop that, by the way. The US has also tried to stop that. You
We
can
hate
look that one up
Cuba
again too,
so
folks.
much. We hate Cuba so much. We're gonna let your kids in Zimbabwe suffer so that they can't. We can stop Cuba from growing. Like we
Exactly.
won't even let them volunteer their fucking medical expertise.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
You
bet you
know,
if they was over there peddling drugs, and I'm not
mm,
talking about the illegal kind, I'm talking about your Pfizer, Moderna, all that shit. I bet you if they were overseas peddling American drugs, we'd let them do it all.
absolutely. Absolutely. And this is something that I think one of the problems we keep running into, right, in our conversations is, hey, that's good old capitalism. That's what they do, bro. That's what they do. And the capitalism, once people start getting a level of understanding of who is actually oppressing them, they've already have the mechanisms or the tools in place to basically suppress that. And that's
Yep.
where Stephen Thrasher's work is very important. Folks can go look him up and see some of the things that he's speaking about as far as protest about Palestine, where he was actually arrested on his campus at Northwestern for protesting.
Mm,
Nonviolent, of course, nothing going on. And this is something that keeps happening because right here in New Jersey, Delaney Hall is experiencing this now.
dude, Delaney Hall is a fucking
It looks crazy.
yeah. I'm trying to come up short of concentration camp right now, but I'm not gonna say concentration camp, but there's really not many other ways you could describe what's going on in Delaney Hall. Right?
Hmm. And now there's so much violence out there, but one of the things that was actually stated from a news report, and this was, I believe, from Democracy Now, was that, and this was one of the gentlemen, he was actually brought in, and his wife was one of the people that started the protest. And his
Mm,
wife said that when she was there, it was peaceful, everything was quiet, no issues, no nothing. Then three quote unquote cars came by. The third one that came by had weapons in them. Like this was a van, and this SUV then stopped, and then things started to escalate bit by bit. The police and everybody else started to escalate the situation, and that's what caused the violence out there at Delaney. It wasn't the people. The people were just chilling for the most part. Nothing was going on. But of course, they want people to react.
hmm
They need the reaction in order to justify the violence, you know. So again, these are quote unquote the overseer class. These are the people that are, you know what I mean, putting the hammer down anytime we do anything. It's
So
dangerous.
I would like to at least share my opinion on peaceful versus non peaceful protest. I wouldn't say that disruptive behavior is not useful, but you have to make sure that you're using it correctly.
Right.
Delaney Hall is not the place for non peaceful activism, right? Because they're
Mm-hmm.
expecting it there, they want it there. It's the point. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to outrage you. So that's where you need to practice as much as possible peaceful protesting, right? The disruptive protesting, I'm not saying to go outside and start slapping people, but if you're going to try to disrupt things, the better time to do that is, by surprise. Maybe not by surprise, but it should be a shock to the system. It shouldn't be expected, right?
Yeah.
This whole thing about filing a permit to do a protest that's like you've already played into the game. If they've got police barricades up, you fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying that your protest is meaningless, but
Yeah. But I get
it's
it.
already
Trust
it's
me.
already been sanitized.
Trust me, bad guy. I'm right there. I'm right there saying to myself, like, so what's the point of this? You know what I
If
mean?
you've
Like,
listen, if you've been assigned a free speech zone, you don't have no fucking free speech.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're stuck. basically. You're stuck in a bad position and you don't know what to do. But to tell you, man, to tell you the truth, bad guy is right on the money, which is you already been compromised. And if you have something else planned, like strategically while you do that protest, well, that's a different story. Because I can say this that getting people out and about is difficult. Now, getting them organized after you do that to say, hey, look, we're having a meeting on the 18th to discuss blah, blah,
Hmm.
blah, and then we want to implement, then hey, your protest is still successful at the end of the
Well,
day. It's
yeah.
not
I
a
mean,
one-time
if
thing.
you're at a protest recruiting for a net for like an action committee or something, yeah, because you're picking from optimal choices. These people are all engaged already,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like going to a DSA event and trying to gather up people for a protest.
Right.
You're in, and maybe DSA is not the greatest example, but you're in a space where people are already activated.
I got you,
They
man.
might the guys at DSA might have to see what time they've penciled in their next what is it, a matcha latte
Matcha latte.
with almond milk and pear essence.
Yeah, that sounds good. Strawberries, nigga. Strawberries. Put strawberries in there. Nah, straight up, man. I think you're spot on with it, and that's really a lot of the things that's plaguing us in these organizing these movements. But going back to the quote unquote overseer class, we could transfer now and take another step. But we're gonna dive into and like, share, subscribe, folks, in the Cypher podcast. Thank you for tuning in with us. The other thing is Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. Now, these are not the managerial class or the overseer class. This is the 1% class. These
Mm-hmm.
two slime balls are the managerial class.
Yes,
And
sir.
the 1%. And Albania is fighting them back.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to
No,
talk to them about this a little bit?
Venus. Look, it's colonization. It might be luxury, high class colonization, but they've finally found a way to start colonizing whiter people. Some people might want to get into an
Good.
argument with me about whether or not Albanians are European whites, but they're
Yeah, they're
adjacent. They're
European. Yeah,
adjacent,
they're white,
right?
man. It's all
Some of the descendants. I'm doing some huge air quotes right now. Some of the descendants of Alexander the Great might want to argue that, but whatever.
okay.
They're
Okay.
Euro adjacent European men and women. But finally, we found a way to recolonize the motherland.
Let's get these bastards.
Well, no, but look, it's similar to what they've done all over the US and all over the Western Hemisphere. They find prime pieces of real estate, whether in New York, it's in New York City, it's anything near a train station, or when you get out to more rural areas, anything near a beach, anything near a scenic view. They're just trying to buy up as much of this land and then hoard it for not just themselves, but other people in their stratosphere.
Right, right. I think that there's something else going on there too, because that land is not some kind of like unknown land. Like if folks have looked into this, Ivanka Trump is basically talking like they discovered it. They were on their boat and they were swimming in the
Yeah,
water.
no, no, no. Yeah,
We
they'll say it just
discovered the
like that.
island.
Yeah.
Wow, it's so beautiful, and
When they say
we
they
walk
discovered it,
barefoot.
what they're telling you is none of their rich friends have been to that island yet, so they want to get there first.
We got it, bitches. Yo, straight up. The truth of the matter is, right? There is a little bit of history on the island. The island was actually a base, a military base
Shit.
that was abandoned. So it has infrastructure in it for the military if you want to do certain kind of operations. And its location is very interesting because if I'm correct, it leads you to the Mediterranean Sea. So
These
this is another
fucking people think they're Bond villains, bro. These fucking people watched way too much Born Identity. Oh my god, bro,
it's a
we're being led into the future by a bunch
yeah,
of near do well sons, mediocre fucking white men with dreams of being an action hero slash espionage star. What the
It's
God
another
damn it,
trade.
Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, man. It's another trade route. So they're fronting like, oh yeah, we're gonna build all these buildings and blah blah. Nah,
And
it's
then
not
all of a
just
sudden they're gonna discover the body of water that these ships happen to go to. Well, look what we found.
yep, man, talk about insidious. But the thing about Ivanka Trump, right? She fits the typical prototype of that because the right loves a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like they love them. Like it's some of the most like and the thing is about her, right? She doesn't look as made up as all the other ones. Like all the other ones have like stuff done to their faces.
She's
Like,
one of the few that look. I mean, she's had stuff done to her face. If you see
oh, of
pictures
course,
of her
of
in her
course,
teens, but
of
she
course.
doesn't have Mar-a-Lago face. She's one
Mar-a-Lago
of the
fizz.
she's one of the few females on that side that's actually intelligent. She's dangerous because she's smart.
Right.
She's not
So
dangerous because she's a disciple.
so people like you got Laura Ingraham, that's another blonde hair, blue eye, right? And then they got Ann Cutler, that's another blonde hair, blue eye. She was dating
Both them
she
bitches look like they smell.
yeah, they look funky. Then Megan Kelly, she's off her fucking rocker, another crazy one. And then whatchamacallit again? Kelly Ann Conway, I believe. That's another one.
Gaia, that lady
Yeah.
looks like a fucking raisin with bones.
Yeah. You see? So you get what I'm saying, man. Like there's so many of them and they all have the same look. It's not a Tommy Lauren, like they're all the same.
Tommy Lauren at least used to be cute. I think she's gotten shit done in her face too. But at least
Yeah.
Tommy Lauren used to be cute. Annoying as fuck.
Well, that's their
Same thing with
job, man.
McCain's daughter. Yeah, no, and they do it so well.
Yeah.
There's this content creator I watch, Couch Politics, but he's
Hmm.
constantly doing Abby Phillips' show, and Abby Phillips has a few of these fucking Stepford wives on.
Yes, yes, I know who you're talking about. Couch Potato. Yeah, 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 yeah. I like that
He's
guy.
from the
I like
Bronx,
him.
right?
Really?
Yeah.
He's doing good work. He's doing good work. Big up to dude on his show, man. Big up to him, yo. He's doing a good job. You know
But
what I mean?
yeah, man, they've got the look. A lot of them do have the look, but Ivanka she's a snake. She's one
110%.
you need to watch out for. The other ones you need to watch your back for. She seems like the one that you need to keep an eye on up front.
Who's that?
Ivanka.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. She's dangerous. To me,
Hmm.
she's dangerous. But I dial back. I digress a little bit on this because it, this is one of the things that our women are dealt with, right? Have to deal with, which is the voices for the right look like that.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, these skinny, blonde hair, blue eye, long hair, blah, blah, blah. And then our women are completely opposite and can be almost anything. They could be tall, they could be slim, they could be
Hmm.
thick, they could be round, but always have a certain presence with them. They always are on point whenever they bringing up something. And I mean, this goes back in the day. Like I'm talking about like from before we were born, obviously. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There were
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many women involved in movements and speaking up, and our women weren't just one monolith. They didn't all just look a certain way, B. They
Yeah, but you got
all
to
look
remember
different.
the aesthetic you're talking about on the right. So the politically right movements are geared towards patriarchy.
Right.
At the end of the day, the only thing that matters, not you as a man, your gaze, but the acceptability of what we're seeing to the patriarchy itself. Like you were saying, blonde hair, blue eyes,
Right.
fair skin. These are all things like you could do a lineup of Fox News hostesses or whatever, female hosts, whatever you call it nowadays. You could do the canned lineup, like the 12 shots, and they look the same.
Yep. Yep.
The way white people like to joke that black people all look the same, those motherfuckers on that
Look
channel look the
look the
same.
same. Yeah, yeah. That ain't no accident. That ain't
No,
no
no, it's not
accident.
because it's pleasing. It's the same reason why when a blonde haired, blue eyed girl goes missing in, Guadalajara or some shit, it's a big story. Meanwhile, you've got, Latin and black and indigenous women from the United States being trafficked all over the place, and nobody bats an eye.
Nobody bats an eye, bro. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
But
It,
let Peggy Sue get picked up.
let Becky get taken away. It's a whole damn near World
Let
War
Becky
Three.
just accuse somebody of having taken her away.
Yeah, that's scary, brother. That's scary. And I say this to say like the thing that I do think is interesting is the fact that she spoke on this. Jared Kushner didn't say anything. He did not come out and have an interview discussing this. She came out and spoke about it, and she tried to make it sound like it was this rediscovery of a land, like it was a rediscovery of life itself and how we're going to change the environment and make things better for people to live. This is how we need to live in natural states and on an island. Like you should hear the
by
bullshit out of
giving
her
by
mouth.
giving the people who live there already slave labor style jobs and paying them shit wages.
Hmm?
That's how they're
And
going to save the place.
And the thing is, that's crazy, is they're going to need servants, right? So that means the
Yes.
servants have to stay on the island and live there with them. Like that
So
would,
they're trying to do something like what Bezos and them have down here. There's a little island down in South Florida that there's only one way in and out of. It's a guard protected road, and pretty much the entire population of the island is billionaires.
mm,
Mind you, this same community used tax dollars to get their sewage systems run. But
there you
you,
go.
as a tax-paying citizen of the United States, who pays a higher percentage of your wages than the people on that island pay of theirs, you're not
Right.
allowed to go on that island.
There we go. Here we go, folks. In the Cypher podcast. Like, share, subscribe. Like, so this is a great point you mentioned. And that's what I think have all the Albanians up in roar. And I
They
mean,
should be.
folks, they are in the streets. Shout out to them. They actually burned down the prime minister's
Let me
home.
hold on. Let me.
It's my word to God, yo. They
we
burned his
we
home down.
I look at our stats. I know we do speak to a lot of people in New York, but we do also speak to some people outside of New York. You might not have had the pleasure of experience Albanians. They're raucous. They are raucous.
Ruckus. Ruckus Records.
Yeah, bro. They don't fuck around. Let me just put it that way.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Shout out to y'all for standing up for your
Hell
property,
yeah.
standing up for your island, because you know what's going to happen. They're going to basically endanger all the species and animal life there. There's going to be more sewage coming out of there. And 110%, that is not going to be a vacation slash resort spot. That is going to be also a military base. I put
Hmm.
money on it if they get a chance to build it up, because right now, I think they're going to burn down the
That
government if
might
they
be a
keep this up.
feature of the resort. Come stay here in the apocalypse, right?
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
got the base. Well, look. I mean, we might as well just segue into the whole Peter Thiel thing
There
because
we
that's what
go
he's
now.
trying to do
That's
down
what
there in
he's trying to
Argentina.
do. That's what he's doing.
Mind you, this fucking piece of shit stuck around long enough in this country to get the toilet bowl flush going, and now he's gonna
Yeah, guys, I need to go. I got something to do, so I'm gonna go to a whole nother country.
like,
This,
what the
like,
fuck? Like, yo, it was nice. I'm glad you guys let me take advantage of your country, but I'm out.
man, there's some people that, I just believe there's so many of those people. A lot of these so-called one percenters, they just never got punched in the face. They never really got the real solid hit, like, and this comedian made a funny joke. He said, back in the days, who ran the country mainly? Jocks. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
athletes ran everything. And look, they weren't perfect, but they were a hell of a lot better than what they are now. He said,
Oh,
now we told them, leave the nerds alone, stop beating up the nerds. And look what the nerds are doing.
Revenge
He
of the
said,
Nerds, baby. I've said it before. Nerds rule the world.
shit, I think it's true, man. It's hilarious, but it's true. Like, hey, these same nerds, here goes a
See, but I
guy
think the
that,
problem is so had these been your average nerds, they would have learned that lesson. They would have been bullied. They would have learned right and fair and unfair, right and wrong. These, as I said before, are the near do well sons of other rich men. I'm sure that those people who made the fortunes that these families grew off of were more savvy at business. They were more shrewd at decision making. These, you're dealing with men who are still children. And just like having kids don't make you a man, having money don't make you a man. Because
Yeah, yeah,
I met a lot of immature motherfuckers that had a lot of money in their pocket.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
And we
I could sell the shit out of some drugs, never really mature as an adult, and have tons of money.
yeah, yeah. It takes more than combat gear as well, man. It takes more than that. It takes more than a license. It takes a lot more.
It takes
And
a lot of all of that. And being isolated from any or multiple facets of the things that you're naming is what causes you to have an Elon Musk. He clearly is not adept at dealing with interpersonally with other people.
absolutely not. Neither is what you call it
Thiel,
again. Teal. He's utterly ridiculous. He's this coming from this man's mouth one time when they asked him a question and said, "Should human beings exist?"
he stuttered.
He never said yes. He never said yes. And that was fascinating because it did clarify one thing for me, which is him and the rest of his junky, funky friends are all looking for transhumanism, which is a
Mm-hmm.
whole nother discussion, folks, that we're going to have another time because there is a lot of work going on and being done about this because in Honduras right now, the Honduras president has been not kind of, he's been bought out and he's giving space to allow quote unquote Teal, Sam Altman, all these guys to do experiments
Mm-hmm.
over there. And according to the papers that are out there, there was a couple of papers that leaked information and said it's not normal experiments. And this is something that I think leads me to go, they're probably trying to do the experiments of transhumanism there
Mm-hmm.
because the regulations there are not the same regulations that are here in the States.
Well,
And
likely they won't have any regulations.
you might be right about that too. This is
Mainly because they'll be going to these countries as established companies, and
mhm,
part of
mhm.
the deal will be we have our own essentially autonomous zone.
Yes, that's I folks, please go look it up. Listen to the bad guy on this one. This is 110% factamundo. Like
If
he's
you want
telling
an
you,
example of that, look at Jurassic Park, the movie. No, seriously though,
no, no, you're
if you
right.
remember
You're right.
Jurassic Park,
It
they
was
had
in
an island in
Costa
South
Rica.
America,
It
Costa
was in
Rica.
Costa Yeah, yeah, yeah. They had an island off of Costa Rica. And he's absolutely right, folks. Like, share, subscribe in the Cypher podcast. Jurassic World, nigga.
I love those movies.
I'm actually watching the last Jurassic World now, but I digress. Yo, so this leads back to the conversation about them planning and preparing for some kind of upheaval. They are
Mm-hmm.
not comfortable with the way things are going because they're aware that people are pushing back and they're aware that once people push back, the word is going to spread faster and better than the internet about who are the people that are causing all this mayhem. And we already know people like Stephen Miller,
Well,
JD
if you
Vance.
look at it, both, and I'm talking about on the ground. When I say sides, I don't mean your Chuck Schumers and your whoever on the his counterpart on the right is. I'm talking about the voters, the people that you're encountering in your day to day life that you might encounter on the internet. I think both sides know. Both sides also know that some of that is on their side, and both sides are in a way trying to protect their own while going after the other. And I think that's where you're going to still see that back and forth between the left and the right in this country, because there's a lot of people on the right. I just saw something from Alabama where they're like organizing to protest data centers in their state,
Oh yeah,
right?
this has been going on consistently. New
But
Jersey has been successful in one of those as well.
who is it that wants the data centers? The same
Them,
guys you just named,
same guy.
right? So the fight is there on both sides. It's just that they've still got us fighting across the board instead of up the ladder.
Yeah, yeah, that's not going to change. I do agree with the concept and idea of like putting differences aside and dealing with the people that are holding power, especially our politicians. And we all know that, again, like we just stated earlier, $70 billion towards ICE, and that means there'll be more detention centers. But please, folks, I hope you understand that these detention centers are not just for illegals.
When those detention centers open up and you go to protest the data center in your state, guess where you're gonna go?
You may go to jail. You may go to the
Man,
detention center.
yeah, there you go. You might not go to jail, but we're gonna get you off the street. So, and of course, I'm giving you my opinion here, but at least to my untrained eye, the purpose of the detention center isn't to get you in jail. It is to get you off the streets, to get you caught up in the system. They know that most of those cases are not going to make it, but if you've got an open case on you, guess what? You probably won't be able to do vote.
Yeah, 110%.
Guess what happens if you've got an open case on you? They have probable cause to keep track of your whereabouts,
Hmm.
right? So it's not necessarily the end game of you serving prison time. It's getting you caught up in the system, getting you on the record.
Hmm. Locking your ass up. Locking your ass up. So bear this in mind, folks, as things progress. But again, giving shout out to people in Albania for doing what they're doing and keep pushing, keep doing your thing. You have our support 110% of the way. And we hope to do the same here in the States at some point because there is pushback. And that being said, we could I think you got anything you else you want to drop on this one?
No, no, no. I think we covered it. I mean,
Yeah.
colonization is colonization.
Yeah, yeah, and Argentina is a prime spot because, Thiel agrees with the way things are run there. Keep the niggers and everybody, all the other darkies
But yeah,
get
Malay
pressed.
Malay is definitely hard up to get more billionaires down.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a big thing for him. So that's something that's going to be on the plate, and I mean, I think we're going to be talking about that one for a while, folks. But
Mm.
if you have anything you want to know about data centers, just go and look at one of our prior podcasts. We discussed some of the data centers and some of the pushback people are actually giving, which I think is to be commended. A lot of pushback in town halls and a lot of spaces. Again, one place also here in New Jersey. So just to bear that in mind. But so let's move this along now. This is something more on the local level, and this was a shooting that took place in South Carolina. Basically, a murder was done in 2023. A 14-year-old black boy was shot. Cyrus Carmack Belton. He was shot in the back after he was being chased out of a convenience store in Columbia, South Carolina. Unfortunately, the man that shot him was Ricky Chow, a 61-year-old store owner, and they shot the boy in the back, claiming that he stole something.
Hmm.
And the thing that he did steal was nothing because he didn't steal shit. He
Hmm.
unfortunately lost his life, and his mother and a lot of the community is in an uproar now. You can go online and see images of the convenience store, which is located at, I believe, a Shell gas station. So
Hmm.
it is completely like protected with like big SUVs. Seems like the sheriff's department went out heavy and got some extra help because people were going crazy on that spot. But
So
you know, tell me what
one
you feel
thing
about it.
one thing that I just heard mentioned in this case earlier was that even though that unfortunate young man died, he wasn't the first time that this store owner has had a shot at people. There's video of him assaulting one person, and then I believe there's video and reports of him chasing I guess a customer or a perceived thief out of the store and then shooting at the retreating car 6 times.
Yep, yep. Mr. Chow is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Wild
Mm-hmm.
as what was that? Think that was that Buster Rhymes song, Wild for the Night? He's wild for the night. I'm telling y'all right now, this dude, there's videos of him just like beating up on people, and it's all pretty much young kids. It's not
Yeah,
really
yeah.
older people because I think he understands the dynamic that if you do that, and this is one of the things that's frustrating is that in our communities, it's always the children and the elderly that get it. They very rarely go against one of the, middle-aged ones or people that are obviously coherent and understand the dynamics of the situation.
The ones who are mentally and physically fit enough to defend themselves.
Yeah, yeah, this is not that scenario, man. This is again, and the tough part is the family is, they have to relive this because this happened in 2023, and here we are 3 years later, and they're reliving the thing all over again. Seeing the videos online, the mother is getting text messages from racists all the time, telling her, "Glad your son is dead," blah blah blah. I mean, could you imagine, folks? Anybody that's a parent.
That's the piece that people don't get, right? Is that even though you and I are going to talk about this, we might even come back on this in a few episodes or something. Uh, all of this animosity that is allowed to build up around these issues, there are people who actually are deeply affected by it. I mean, it's not a great comparison, but you've got those two election workers from Atlanta, the mother and daughter, whose lives are completely different now
Yeah.
because something happened, and in this country for some reason our first react well, not our first reaction, but the first reaction of a certain subgroup of people who tend to vote a certain way is to start hurling racist fucking these same people will tell you, oh, racism's dead. Racism is so dead that you open up sock puppet Facebook accounts so that you could run around and some of you fuckers are so dumb that you do it from the account with your face and your job on.
Yeah, that's crazy. Super
But
stupid.
racism is dead.
Super stupid. I love those people. They're my favorite. They're my favorite because they get fired real quick.
Yeah.
They get fired
Oh,
real.
but what about my freedom of speech?
What about it? What about it? You got the freedom to say what you want. We got the
Yeah.
freedom to fire you and get you taken off. And the
So
thing, go ahead.
if real quick, if anybody ever wants to explain to their children freedom of speech, as Cujo was saying, you do have the freedom to say anything you want. You do not have the freedom of not suffering the consequences of the things that you say. I could tell my wife some fucked up shit right now. I have every right in the world to do it. It's my mouth. I have to deal with her afterwards.
Basically,
Right? So it's like
basically,
I could
yeah.
wild out. Like I could wild out like your man over here and say some real crazy shit.
Uh-huh.
I gotta deal with her afterwards though, and that's not gonna be fun.
It's not gonna be fun for you or her. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like this, man. Like the thing that's frustrating about these scenarios is you're gonna put yourself in a compromised position by speaking like that. But
Mm-hmm.
what I started to understand, and this was really fascinating, two men were having a conversation, and I found this in one of my feeds, and I think this is important, and we're gonna have to go over this again, and I think we have already, which is he said, the thing that I've realized is when I'm around certain people, I feel free, I feel safe, I feel security, and I'm able to express myself the way I want to, how I want to, with no problems
Mm-hmm.
and no issues, right? And he said, I then realized the people that support Trump and support all these things that are being done in the government right now, they too see themselves feeling safe and secure and comfortable. And
Mm-hmm.
their expression, when they feel safe, feel secure, and comfortable, they express what? Hate.
So
They feel comfortable hating.
if you
That's what it
wanna
is.
if you wanna understand it from a perspective that's closer to yours, mine's, and probably most of our audience, we're all familiar with code switching. You might hear us do it in the middle of a show, but the ability to speak one way in one group and articulately communicate in another way with another group. We have to do that. I can't talk to my boss the way that I talk to Cujo off the air or sometimes on the air.
What? I thought you'd be talking reckless.
I
Yo, boss. Yo, what the fuck, man?
throw
What's up with this paycheck, nigga? What's up with this paycheck, man?
this
We gotta talk.
bullshit. So that's our version of code switching, right?
Right.
It just dawned on me that this is their version of code switching.
Mm-hmm.
In public, they have to speak a certain way, the way we are for it. But see, and it's weird the alignment here. We do it to make y'all feel comfortable, right? I
Mm-hmm.
don't. If me and Cujo are working on a job together, if there's nobody around, me and him are going to talk how me and him going to talk
Mm-hmm.
until one of y'all stuffy ass white people show up. Then we might
Switch it
switch it
up.
up a
Switch
little
it
bit.
up.
But it's dawning on me that this is their code switching and they're tired of it. They just want to speak the way they want to speak now. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
they get from Trump. They feel that they have the license to now
Exactly. Exactly.
until
And
somebody comes and punches them in their mouth.
that's what we're talking about. Some
I
people
was just
getting
watching
punched
a
in the
video the
face.
other day. There was these near do well, fucking mediocre white dudes protesting something on a street corner, but they were like being aggressive with passersby. And one of them caught the attention of a man who looked like he could play professional football. He looked like Suge Knight a little bit, like Suge Knight with a little bit more fit, a little bit more hair. But yeah, he's a big fucking dude.
Right,
And
right.
they wilted so quickly,
Mm,
so quickly, bro. Like
mm,
the while out left them instantly.
mm.
You could see as he focused on one then the other. Like one of them thought he was big and bad while dude was yelling at someone else. And when he got close, homeboy focused on him, and all of a sudden, your man was backing down. I was like, damn.
Shut it down.
It's almost like they don't have a keyboard to protect them.
Yeah, but we could talk about that too, because there are a lot of keyboard warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Keyboard warriors are plentiful, and I do think that one of the things that we unfortunately overlook is this connection between the real world and the cyber world, and there is a connection there that would sometimes help you and hamper you. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing that I notice the most is that people lack the understanding that the cyber world isn't the real world. You texting or remarking to people in a chat and expecting to have a decent, coherent conversation is just utterly insane. Like you're just not going to get that from people because the same way that people get behind a car and think they're tough is the same way people get behind the keyboard and feel comfortable saying anything to anybody. So,
Something you can compare being behind a keyboard to is being drunk.
eh,
All of a sudden, you get the freedom to say what you want to say
I
because
see
you
what you're
think
saying.
there's no consequence.
I see what you're saying. See what you're saying. People will 110%, their inhibitions drop and they will
Mm-hmm.
say reckless things once they have a little sauce in their system.
Once they think that they're hidden behind the anonymity of whatever account they're signed into.
Yeah, yeah.
One of my favorite pieces of content to watch is this. He's American because he's born here, but his family's Somali. Young dude, I'm your captain now or something. He's playing off of that Tom Hanks movie,
Okay.
but he'll go on. I forgot. I don't know if it's Kick.com or some other live stream website, and he'll start going back and forth with these dudes, these white dudes, and get them to be racist, and then like completely expose their IP address,
Yeah, I love
dox
that
them
dude,
live.
man.
Oh,
So he's like, "Yeah,
bro.
so you're Christopher
Yep,
Williams
yep.
from Utah.
Is that you driving that 95, whatever? Yep, yep.
So what exactly?" And then they stop and they're like, "Yo, why you got to say all that for? Like,
Yeah. All of a sudden now we should worry about people's futures and shit.
I'm a young man. I just don't, why would you want to do that to me?"
Hmm.
Yo, I love that, man. I love that. I think that's how it works, bro. That's how it
Hmm.
works. I think you get that done.
Consequence.
Yeah.
Consequence. Like what they tried to do to everybody with this whole Charlie Kirk thing. First of all, and Cujo, you don't have to support what I'm about to say. If you don't, I'm still gonna say it. I don't want to hear nobody crying on September 10th. And outside of how fucked up it was, I could give a fuck less about George Floyd. He was unfortunately another victim of this system, but I don't have any personal investment in, his life.
Right, right.
But just to see how y'all treat another the memory of another human being on the anniversary of his death, I don't want to hear no crying, because I think this September 10th is going to be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, there's gonna be.
It is going to be a meme-a-thon, and I can already see them trying to get people fired and all this bullshit, but sucks.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
because
it's.
as offensive as I found a lot of the shit that they did about George Floyd, like I said, I don't have a personal investment. I'm offended in a societal sense. Like, we do this? This is what we're all about? But
Mm,
y'all love this dude. Y'all cried when he was murdered.
yeah,
So
yeah,
when
yeah.
when that shoe comes back to be on the other foot, I don't want to hear nothing.
I think one of the big things that was, because to me that was definitely another a level of like cutoff point for me, where people online, and this is where to me we're not talking about situations where somebody has the right to say, "Hey, look, I believe that the funding for schools should no longer be going to public schools; it should go to private." This is not the conversation we're having anymore. We're having a conversation about black people, non-white people in general, should be quote unquote put to the side, and they are all criminals, they are all worthless, blah blah blah. And then this
Mm-hmm.
guy is masking it with saying God is my savior and blah 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 and all this, and then you support him, but then you still want to be friends with me. Like that to me shows there's a level of disconnect, and also there's a level of respect that I just don't think people even have in the graces of black people. Because I got to tell you, I'm sure you experience this as well, which is, have you ever been standing somewhere or walking somewhere, this has happened to me when I'm at the train station, and I'm standing by the door, and
Mm-hmm.
trains moving, blah, 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 doors open up, somebody comes in, plenty of space all around the train. But for some reason, where I'm standing, they turn their back and lean on the pole and have their back towards me.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, there's room on the train, but I can't raise my hand up to lift my phone up to look at my phone. That's how close they are to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I say to myself, I go, "Oh, you think this shit is sweet. Like, I'm just gonna let you stand right next to me." And what do? I bring my phone up full force and hit them in their back. And then they, oh,
Mm-hmm.
and then they realize, and then they see the expression on my face and recognize, like, oh, okay, I fucked up right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, but this is an ongoing theme that happens where we get marginalized in so many different ways, and it happens, like I said, when our neighborhoods get gentrified too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
but we look at these people coming into our neighborhoods and we try to be cordial and respectful, and they have yet to even say hello most of the times, which I notice, which is wild. you know. So I went on a tangent there, but I couldn't help that one.
I remember growing up seeing on TV when families moved into a neighborhood. Either families from the area would come and greet them, or they go
Right.
and that don't happen when they come into Bushwick. It didn't happen
Nah.
when they come into the Bronx.
Nope.
I'm sure
Nope.
down here in Ybor City, it ain't happen when they came into Ybor City.
Mm-mm.
It's almost like well, not almost like they do look down on you,
Yeah, of
and
course.
they almost feel like they have the right to your space.
Yes, yes. That's a very good thing to put. In the Cypher podcast, folks, like, share, subscribe. I completely agree with that. I do think that that's a big thing. They do think they have a right to the space to say, well, hey, I paid for this.
And I didn't,
Yeah, basically,
right?
basically, you know, that's basically what they're saying. You don't belong here. And it's your space, but you don't belong here. You know what I'm saying? It's
See,
wild, but
that's why I made sure I moved into a white neighborhood down here.
Man, it's a catch 22 with me on that. Like, I don't know, man. It's a tough one. I'll say this, and I'm gonna digress back to. We're gonna swing back around to what we were talking about the child being shot, which is these families, the Asian community that come into black neighborhoods, non-white neighborhoods, black, Latino, etc. The thing is, right? The reason why they are able to start businesses and jobs there is because way back when they first came in, when they first were in the country, they were not allowed to open businesses in white neighborhoods,
Still not.
still not to some degree.
Hmm.
So they were given loans to open businesses in our neighborhoods that we ourselves couldn't get loans to open businesses in our own neighborhoods. So they were allowed to come in. So they became the dry cleaner. They became the
Hmm.
Chinese restaurant. They became the
Uh
hardware
huh.
store and the liquor store. Like they were given the passes for that.
Yep.
And
They
you'll
started
hear,
leasing out the land. They started leasing out the bank's land, and that can translate to white people, and started businesses there so that those banks could keep making money off of the black and Spanish people or the minorities in those neighborhoods.
Mhm.
That's what I was talking about before as the buffer class.
Yes, yes. We spoke about this a little earlier, folks, but this is definitely one of the things with a buffer class. People classified as Asian have a disdain for non-white people, even though everything that was done to them in error and subjugation has been done to them predominantly by white people.
Hmm.
But let's not get history too twisted, because most of them, not most of them, but some of them have made changes and understood there is some solidarity between us. But then I do want to go back and say that during even the times when they were working on the railroads with us, they didn't mess with us either back then.
Mm-mm.
This is not a new thing in
Well, Asian
California.
societies are very
Oh yes, absolutely. And until they see resources that they want. When they see resources they want, like in Africa right now, one of the major languages in South Africa, if I'm correct, is now Cantonese. They are teaching
Mm.
Cantonese as well as other South African languages, which I think is fascinating for somebody to actually study because that lets you know the grip or the power that they have in the space and in the area where they're teaching that.
Listen, China is just going to practice a softer form of colonization.
Absolutely, absolutely. They'll be gentle rulers to some
Hmm.
degree, if whatever that may mean to some people. This is a case where this shooting and everything that happened in this, it's a microcosm of a bigger issue that we really have. And there are going to be instances like this that are going to keep happening. Hopefully nobody loses life, but we've all known that when we go into certain stores, especially
Yep.
Asian restaurants and some Asian, Asian stores, grocery stores. They're following you. They're watching you 110% of the way.
You can watch how
And
they deal with white people and then deal with another black person who's in line. You can see
exactly,
it like right there.
exactly, exactly. I've seen this even when I've gone to rent a car, and literally when I went to rent the car, they told me, "Oh, here's the keys," and I was like, "Okay, where's the car?" They're like, "Oh, you got to go upstairs and get it." I was like, "What the fuck?" I've never had to do that before, by the way. So that was the first time for me. But when I returned the car back after renting it, guess what? There's a white guy there. White guy comes out. They're like, "Oh, sir, we'll be right back." They went upstairs and got him the car and brought it to him.
Oh,
And it was the same car, by the way, that we just finished bringing back. That's
that's
the
so crazy.
that's the wild part. So it was like I was like, "Yo, hold up, man. Yo, hold up." Now, if I rent a car from anywhere, I'm be like, "Yo, can you bring?" Because that's the first time I've ever had to do that. But again, this was an Asian store, an Asian
Mm-mm.
owner. You know, so we're gonna see, man. But I again, my heart goes out to the family. I feel bad for them all for the loss, and to the Asian community, we know not all of you are bad. We are completely aware of that. But the levels of anti-blackness or racism that you carry, it's not going on deaf ears and eyes. We know it, we see it, we hear it, and we're fully aware of it. But if you're going to get out of this quote unquote American situation, you're going to have to work with somebody. You guys can't do it by yourselves. And the only reason why you're here is because we did do something to get the doors open so other people can come here. So it's just a interesting thing to keep in mind, folks, because things are going to get worse for everybody that's non-white and poor white people too.
And just because you're white adjacent doesn't mean that you're any whiter to white.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, I'm going to say that we have a lot of work to do, and we're going to keep pushing forward to try to get more work done as far as forming unions and working in our communities better. But this type of murdering, senseless murder has to
Hmm.
stop because I'm sure you heard the story, folks. He was running away from them, and they claimed he stole water. Is water worth getting shot over? Like, is it worth chasing him over a football field? They
Is
chased him
anything
for
in that
over a football
store?
field.
That's the thing that gets me, how somebody walks on a charge like this, because there's literally nothing in that store that's worth taking another person's life.
Life.
I could understand if the kid would have robbed the cash register, right? That's
Yeah.
an obvious defense,
Yeah.
whatever
You
you want
coming?
to call it.
Yeah,
But
you
for a
come for him,
bottle of
you running for him.
water,
Yeah, yeah, that's out of this world. That's out of this world, man. Out of this world. So again, my heart goes out to the family. I wish them the best, and hopefully there's some form of justice that comes from this. I don't think this dude Ricky Chow can stay in that town ever again. Pretty sure that store has to get shut down. Something will happen. He probably sold it already.
it'd be
He probably
smarter to
sold.
get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah, he has no choice. I don't think he has a choice at all. So
All
it's a
them pickup trucks you're talking about that were circling and protecting the place. The moment this is off the front page, they ain't gonna give a fuck about them no more.
I agree. I agree. Because the business is not there anymore. If the business was there, I think they would because they are concerned about the finances coming into that county. But
Hmm.
the business, I don't think is there. They're going to probably have to sell it off and figure out what to do with it. So it's going to get interesting for that. But the thing also is the Asian community has such a liking to our culture. They love
Mm-hmm.
hip hop. They
Mm-hmm.
love hip hop. Most of the break dancers now that I see, they're Asian.
One of the
They're
most popular breakdance crews ever was Asian, the Jabberwockies.
yeah. I used to see them in Harlem. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like for what you call it again? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot. I used to go to their shows, free concerts every year. The Rocksteady concerts, man.
Oh, the Rocksteady crew. I've been to a few of their shows.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I used to love their shows, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was good stuff. But they would come out for those shows, man. They would come out and show support, so I'm hoping
But
that
the Asian community, like we were just saying before on the other topic, the Asian community, especially in the U.S., has always kind of not culturally like given up their culture, but essentially appropriated urban culture.
yeah, yeah. I find it interesting when I have a Buddha shirt, right? This is just a
Mm-hmm.
Buddha. It's just a picture of a Buddha on my shirt. And whenever I wear the shirt, people that are Asian look at me with such a disdain, like
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't believe it. And I'm like, you motherfuckers got some nerve. Like it's just a shirt. I'm not even trying to talk like you, like y'all do, or jack your style. This is just a shirt of a Buddha.
But
You
you are
know,
wearing a shirt of a deity.
yeah, but
I got to assume that. Well, I don't get offended when I see somebody with a shirt of Jesus Christ or a tattoo of Jesus. So
but
I
but
get what you're saying.
but here's I'll give you some layers to this. First off, right? Historically, Asian people come from a tribe in Africa. So that's a whole nother thing that
Mm-hmm.
none of them
Mm-hmm.
really know, right? But then the second thing is, if you look at the Buddha doesn't have straight hair. What is up with the Buddha's hair? Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever looked at those images of a Buddha and be like, why is it like look like balls of on
Yeah.
his head? But I've never seen that hat.
Curly locks.
You feel me? Something, and I said it to my lady a bunch of times. I was like, why is the Buddha's head? Yo, hold up. That's not a hat because
He
I've
had
never
a
seen a
afro.
Buddha. I've never seen a Buddha with a hat like,
So
and
Buddha
that's
had a
no
fro.
Son. Buddha had to have nappy hair. That's just what I'm saying. It's
I
just
mean,
I don't know what else
Jesus
it could be.
had nappy hair too.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's something ill about the image of Buddha, number one. That's some number two. So that's something not taken into account. But even
Mm-hmm.
if I have a Bruce Lee shirt, right, and it's on it, back of it is like flow like water. Even when I wear that shirt, I get looks like I'm wearing a Bruce Lee. And it's just like, bro, it's just a t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? He's a great
Mm-hmm.
warrior. I liked a lot of his philosophy, so it's respect. It's not me jacking your Bruce Lee.
Tell him, yo, it could be worse. I could be out here doing that Xing Young dance.
You know what I'm saying?
And you know it's fucked up. You'd probably be better at it than them.
Be better at it than them.
Yo, dude,
110%.
a side note about dancing and being better. I forgot where I saw or read it, but that river dancing shit.
Yeah.
One of the best river dances in the world is a black girl from Texas.
Yes, yes, they hate her guts. They hate her guts. Did you see that?
Yo, son, you can't. They can't do
Bruh,
anything.
Bruh, they hate her guts. Like they
I
really don't
bet.
like her, my G. I was shocked. I was like, damn, why they freaking hating on her so bad? Yo, they don't like her at all. Like I heard the commentary about how she was treated, and I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, yo, you're in a tough space. Like one of my boys, him and his family do mountain runs. And I'm like, they do like, competitive ones. They're not just
Mm-hmm.
chilling. And it's like he complains. He's like, yo, Jay, man, they white people be disrespecting us and da da da.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm
You
like,
told me about it. Yeah.
yeah. And I said, yo, bro, that's their thing. And you and your family are coming in beating them? Are
You
you
want to see.
crazy?
You want to pull the racist out of a white person? Do something that white people do better than that white person does it.
Real. For real.
All of a sudden, you'll be all sorts of spics and niggas, bro.
Yeah, 110%, man. I couldn't believe it. I was like,
And
yo, man,
don't
this
don't
is
let that thing that you do better than be one of their women. Cause then you in
yeah.
for it, brother.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, bro. You're gonna face some trouble with that. You're gonna face some real trouble with that.
Yeah.
But I do think that, there are some things to, I don't know, there are some things to really actually take and look into and pay mind to when it comes to exchanging cultures and see if it's appreciated across the board and see if people actually understand it. But I think due to the fact that there's a huge disdain for, us as non-white people, black and Latina, that it's very hard to have an equal exchange. It's very hard to form a coalition because in order to form a coalition, it has to be a scenario where I have something to offer and you have something to offer, right?
Well, and we
And
also
if
we have to have a common goal, and that's kind of
right,
where the problem is like we've discussed before. When you get into a coalition with certain groups within a society, they will abandon you the moment that they've realized their part of the goal.
yeah, yeah, because whatever reason do they have to hang out now? They ain't got no reason to hang out with you and keep grinding and putting their people out and
Especially when they know that the next time the election comes up, you're still going to vote the same way.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's a wild scenario, man. So I gotta say that this is something that we are going to constantly deal with. But I do think eventually, as we galvanize more, we then can form a coalition. Until then, no. We are so scattered.
No, honestly, I think to tell you the truth, these groups kind of need to get to where we're at.
Yeah.
We're not at the point where we need to catch up to them.
Nah.
They need, and I don't mean as in like doing well in society. I mean as far as in our readiness to change things.
Yeah, yeah. There's a level of less, because look, I'm still confused about things, right? But I'm way less confused than most people I know. I'm
Mm,
definitely, and I've talked to, not to toot my horn, I've talked to professors and teachers and scientists, and they tell me to my face, they go, I tell them, I say, yeah, I don't really know that much, but I know some things. They're like, you know a lot more than most people. And that's the
hmm
response. So our conversations, I know, are resonating on a different level and frequency. Question is, can we galvanize people to come into our space and then organize them at the same time?
Yeah.
Not a and not the person that's the voice is not always going to be the greatest organizer, but usually we're smart enough to know who should be doing the organizing with us.
Yeah,
So that's a
and the job of the voice is to get the message out.
right,
Right? It's
right.
not to be the one. You play a part in galvanizing a movement by broadcasting those voices and those ideas.
Really important, man. 110%. I gotta say, man, that's some good stuff we rounded out there. Like,
Hmm
share, subscribe in the Cypher podcast, folks. So, yo, what about this new Jay-Z stuff that came out? Did you hear about this?
The freestyle,
Yeah, yeah. Did you hear about this, man?
yeah, he went in on everybody.
Yeah. I was like, what's that about?
I'm pretty sure he's working on a project,
Right.
maintaining relevance. I mean,
hmm
he did show he still got it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I personally I wasn't feeling it. I have to admit. I'm not gonna lie. I was like listening to him and I was like, yeah, I kind of feel like I've heard this before. Like I just
I mean, he did specifically, which he's known for, play on specific people, specific real life things.
right.
Some of it I didn't understand why it was so, it needed to be talked about publicly. But some of it I do get, like the thing with Drake. Drake made a song dissing him, so I get why you come back on him.
Yeah, I just kind of surprised at that too. Like, what is that about?
What, Drake dissing him? Drake trying to
Yeah,
just get back on the radar, bro.
like why are you wasting your time for only people that are asleep behind the wheel think that you did anything. Like, I don't know, bro. You're not catching my support. You're not catching me with that, bro. Like that's all I'm gonna say.
Well, look, I
Like,
think the only people that like Drake's last three albums were Drake fans.
yeah, yeah.
He didn't
That
do anything that warranted anybody saying, "Oh shit, Drake dropped the album."
yeah. Yeah, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that.
I mean, a lot of
Yeah,
albums are that nowadays, but
good
he
point.
could have at least expected more. I mean, maybe he could have combined that all into a single album and came out with something good. But from my understanding, is there's not really a good song on the three discs
I
or
think what I
three
think what
albums.
he was doing, I think what he was trying to do, he was trying to get out of his contract. I
I
think
read that.
Yeah, I think that's what that was. Like, yeah, I need to get out of this. And that's what he was doing.
Hmm.
So, as far as that goes, I give him kudos for that because, yeah, you are a slave. You're a high paid slave, but you're a slave, bro, to that
Well, and
record
that's
label.
one of the things Jay-Z said in his little
Is this?
diatribe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And he's not wrong. I mean, as successful as Drake is, I don't think you could compare those two. And when I say career, I don't just mean musically, I mean in general, in business around music. I
yeah,
don't think
yeah.
you can, it seemed like that was one of the things that was nagging Jay when he dropped that freestyle was, making sure he understood there is no comparison here.
Yeah, yeah, I get that completely, man. I don't know, like I know there are a lot of people out there, and I'm probably gonna catch flack for this, but I've never really been a Jay-Z worshiper like other people. Like other people, like, oh Jay-Z, Jay-Z, oh man, did you hear? And I'm kind of like, okay. I mean, like, I don't have the same, like visceral, like jumping about and like I feel like this is it. This is the man. Like I feel like he's a talent. He's very talented. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but I can't tell you that I listen to a Jay-Z album and go, "Wow, that was incredible." I listen and go, "Oh, that's pretty good." That's the way I feel about it because nothing he's saying is relevant to me about buying stuff, selling this, that,
Well, yeah,
this,
no,
money
no,
here,
no.
money there. I
You're
don't say it.
100%
I don't feel any relevance. That's not, especially as I've matured, that's never going to be my life. And I never wanted it to be my life. So to me, it never struck a chord the way it struck a chord with other people. And my personal opinion, again, I'll probably catch flack for this. I think it struck a chord with most capitalist Americans to go, I want to be like him. I want to make money like him, even though he made money selling crack to his own community, which should be
Yeah.
shamed and should be pushed to the side. But again,
Hmm.
this is a
Well,
part of our conditioning.
a lot of musicians in hip hop either were selling drugs or their career was launched with drug.
Right, right. You know what I mean?
Music has always been a great way to clean money up.
Clean the money up, clean the money up. And this goes back to mafia days, by the way, not even just
Hmm.
hip hop. This goes back to heavy mafia days. So,
Old Jewish mafia days. Which
all of them.
one day we should do a show on that. Some of the misconceptions about the gangster world in New York, because
Yeah, yeah.
there's a lot there are a lot of interesting things that came out of that world.
Yeah, we could definitely talk about that. There's a couple of stories too, man, about a dude that I don't know if you remember this. He shot another gangster mafia dude, a made guy, in public in like Times Square, and it was a black guy they hired to do it, and
Hmm.
of course, they literally killed him on the spot. Like it was like, and I couldn't believe. What the funny thing was, I thought to myself, I was like, who could pay you enough to go and shoot a mob boss in broad daylight, and you're a black dude? You think you're gonna get away with
Yeah,
it?
did you think that the Italians were going to allow you to get away with killing an Italian, even if they paid you to do it?
Do it? Are you crazy? Like he must have been a little slow or something like that. Cause I don't, because to me that was just a suicide mission, straight kamikaze. You know what I mean?
Hmm. What? Somebody with a gambling debt, somebody with a drug problem.
Something,
There are a lot of
something.
conditions you can be in that will make you not think clearly. Debt to the mob is one of them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Absolutely, that is true.
But
There's a
we were talking about Jigga Jay Z, Mobbed Up Jay. Yeah, but like Jay Z's music, but I was actually just talking to my wife about this the other day. I find that most of his music that I really do enjoy is either a diss track of some sort or the beat. Like
it's
when
the
he's
beat.
rapping about flying around and doing this, that, and the third, like you said, even in my wildest dreams, that's not my life, right? So it's not, it doesn't appeal to me as like it's aspirational. And I do know people, a lot of people, like you said, who he tickled their wannabe capitalist side, and
Right.
they like him because of the Maybach and the,
Yep.
what is it, Henry Ford and all this wild shit.
Tom
Like, bro,
Ford and all of that.
Tom Ford. Like,
Yeah,
bro,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
never ever you make $60,000 a year. That's like a wallet at Tom Ford.
I don't
You
understand
would
that.
have to pay your whole year's salary to get the thing to hold money in. Or like, I mean, you get it with women too. Like they over here talking about whatever the new handbag is that costs like $30,000 for a bag. Like, if you have that, if you bought that, you should be put in a mental institution.
Hmm.
Unless you have
Yeah,
fuck you money, you have no reason buying a bag that costs $30,000.
it's ridiculous, B. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't understand it. I'm not sure about that. It's makes no sense to me. But this is the image and the lifestyle they're trying to sell. And
Mm,
like I said, that struck a chord with people. And when you live in poverty and you hear about another guy that
there you
came from the
go.
projects, you try to follow that path. And this is where when people talk about, well, you don't need a quote unquote image of somebody else or a how could I say this, like somebody to look up to actually, make it. I
Hmm.
disagree. I do think it helps when you have somebody there that's a figure, so to speak, a role model that
Yes.
you could look at and say, okay, this is how I did it. This is the path. But I do think what's even more important is once you find that role model to understand that that person's path is not necessarily going to be the exact path that you take. And
Well, yeah,
that's the
because you
fundamental
shouldn't be
key.
trying to be the carbon copy of anybody.
Exactly. But many people do that though.
Hmm. But
I
that's
think
not
that's
success.
I,
That's imitating success.
I think so. I think so. I think, but and this to give, and I'm going to give context when we say success. When I say success, in those instances, exactly what you're saying is success. But for people out there, I want you to understand when you look up the roots of success, like the real meaning of it, it's actually the attempt at trying something.
Hmm.
It's not actually the full fulfilling it. It's
Yes, that's
actually
why they
the
say a successful attempt.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So, by the way, and I'm saying that to people because I want you to understand that that's an important thing to understand is that you gave a shot at it, you did try,
Hmm.
and the language that we use oftentimes when it comes to this, we tend to beat each other down or beat ourselves down because we weren't quote unquote successful in completing the task to our liking. But
Mm.
that's why the term, try first, try again. That's where that comes
Well,
from.
the thing that most people don't understand about successful people is that they probably fail more than you ever have in your life.
Oh, man, I agree, brother. Couldn't agree
Right?
more.
It's, and I don't want to make it sound like it's a failing upward scenario, but it's a constant iteration of either an idea or different ideas until one of them is not just successful in the way Cujo described, but is actually seen to fruition.
Right,
Right? So,
right.
like I said, some of the most successful people in the world have failed more times than you would ever imagine. It's just that they weren't deterred by the failure, which you should never be. If you
Mhm.
take every failure as a lesson, whether it's a failure in business, a failure in love, a failure in finance,
Right.
if you take that as a lesson and learn from from the mistakes you made, then it wasn't a failure. It was just another iteration until you hit pay dirt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like, share, subscribe, folks, in the Cypher podcast. Just some nuggets of wisdom on that one right there.
Mm.
Because I do think we beat ourselves up a little bit too much when we make mistakes, and a lot of that is because we're upholding ourselves to a certain ideology of what success is and what the right way of doing things is. But I had somebody ask me this. He said to me because he was having issues with his wife, and he's like, "Yo, what happens when you do something wrong, man, and you mess up?" And I looked at him and I said, and I had like one drink in me, but hey, man, hey, those whiskey sours are tough, or or whiskey neat. And I just said, hey man, fuck it. You made a mistake. Move
Yep.
on. You know what I mean? Like you can't hold on to it. If you beat yourself up, you're gonna really be in a rut. You can't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
You have to take the time out to give a nod, say, all right, I messed up here, but I know what now the issue is, and I'm gonna move on faster and stronger and better than before.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
see, the answer is not ignoring it either, right? The answer
Right.
is acknowledging it and then using it as a stepping stone. Get to the next, the next failure essentially. And then when it happens, you regroup and you keep moving forward. A lot of people, and learning this helped me hugely, or understanding this concept helped me hugely. But a lot of us, we tether ourselves to past failures.
Mm.
right? And without releasing that tether, we never free ourselves for the next failure, but we do it because we're afraid, right?
Right.
Inside, not every attempt at doing something will be successful, but sometimes we're so afraid of another failure that we'll tie ourselves to a past failure just so
Right.
that we can't free ourselves to fail again.
Right. I think that the fear thing is a big part, right? Because fear can be
Hmm.
crippling, and at the same time, the funny thing, fear can be motivating.
Liberating. Yes.
You know?
Jesus, what's the record executive's name? The guy that runs Interscope Records. There's a sample on Dre's Compton album of a speech that he gives, and he's discussing fear. And the way he explains it is most people allow fear to block them because they stand behind it, right?
Mm,
He is constantly running from his fear. So it never blocks him, it just motivates him to do more because he's constantly running from it. So instead of, most of us, we run into our fear, he's on the other side of that and he's outrunning it. And it's really a good way to look at it. Like, I'm not saying that it's like a philosophy of mine, but what I was saying earlier with my dashboard at work, right? I'm constantly in fear that I'm not doing enough. I'm constantly in fear that there's something out there that I need to touch because it hasn't been touched in a long time and something's probably wrong. But that fear motivates me to, and I'm not the most organized person in the world, but my wife will tell you that fear has me here sometimes late at night. Did I check this? Is this okay? Is that all right? But I'm not letting that fear paralyze me. I'm not sitting here like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I have so many things to do. Nah, I know I got a lot of shit to do. I got to keep it going.
that's the truth, man. Keep it going. And
Hmm.
that's no joke, bro. No joke. I got to tell you, that's one of the biggest things I had to understand. And
I've described I mean, my wife lives with me for 20 something years. She knows my life, but I've described my view of my life to her as a rock, a stone, a nice smooth stone skipping across a lake. And I just keep hitting it, bah, 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 all the way across the lake, bro. From one fucking crisis to the next. If I allow one of them to stop me, they're all gonna stop.
exactly, man. And it's a wrap after that. And it's hard. Well, it's not a wrap, but it's hard to get back in the game.
Yeah,
It
it's
just
hard
gets a
to
little
get
bit
back
more.
on that foot, man, especially now. And it's not even that it's a physical thing, it's a motivation thing at this age, right?
Hmm.
At this age, not that it would be more devastating, but it's like, again, I got to do this all over again. So for
Over
that,
again.
don't let the fear stop you. Like, I'm at the point now in my career that I'm not afraid. I know the power that I have, I know what I can do, and I'm not afraid to use my experience on my behalf.
Mm, dope, brother. Dope. In the Cypher podcast, folks. Like, share, subscribe. This is how we do, folks. This is how we do going into the next half of the year.
The
We
more interesting half of the year.
Yeah, we're going to see what happens with a lot of things when it comes to the midterms.
Yeah,
California has some things churning out right now, so we'll see what goes on. I believe somebody did advance. We'll go over some of that.
we
On the,
gave you guys a voting break. My little AI side project notices that we talk a lot about voting.
well,
It is a recurring issue.
we kind of doing it again, bro. We kind of doing it again, but it's dope nonetheless. You know what I mean? But
Yes, sir.
anything else you want to wrap up with, bro?
No, man, no. Well, you did have a. I know you wanted to point out that little thing about Big Daddy Kane when we were talking about Jay Z.
So
Yeah, it was pretty interesting that comparison that dude gave, right?
yeah, yeah, it actually is.
I've
Cause
heard him
I
too on some other ones, but the thing that got me with that comparison was it's the difference between talent and persistence,
mm,
right? Because clearly, for the audience, the video we're talking about, the guy's talking about Big Daddy Kane and his ability to rap, and Jay Z and his ability to rap, but their longevity in the game. Big Daddy Kane, I wasn't even the biggest Big Daddy Kane fan.
I
That man
was.
can rhyme. I know, bro. I know.
I was.
You didn't even have to tell me, and I would have known you as a big Daddy Kane fan.
Yeah, it was
He was
Kane and
in the right
Rakim for
place
me.
at the right time. Rakim, now we talking. Now we talk about my
Kane
kind of
and
rap.
Rakim for me.
But the guy made a really good point, and there's several movies out there you can watch that will give you a similar point of view. But talent is great, but it's not the secret sauce.
Nah,
Persistence
it
is.
isn't. Mm-hmm.
And that's literally what we were just talking about, right? Persistence is the ability to fail, get up, and then push forward.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I think about Kane is the fact that he really epitomized everything about MCing, and he didn't compromise too much when it came to cursing and calling women bitches and hoes. He said his trajectory stopped right there. He said when that became popular, he was like, I'm not doing that. I mean, I
Well,
think
and
because
the other person you named is probably a victim of that too. Rakim was known for not being vulgar and
hmm
having a killer rhyme flow. But I wouldn't be surprised if you spoke to Rakim and he had a similar
perspective,
outlook on what happened. Yeah, similar perspective. Maybe one of his most quote unquote gangster songs is the song from Juice, Above the
know the
Know
ledge.
the Ledge.
Ooh, that's a beautiful song, bro.
Brother, that's a song right
Beautiful
there.
song. He said, damn, what the heck was that? He said, girls at the sidewalk whisper my name. I push up like an exercise. Check her intellect and inspect the thighs. Select the best one. I pull her to the side. I keep her occupied for the rest of the ride. Read her my resume. You know I'm already cool. Just meet me at
After
school. We could
school, we
moan
could
and
moan and
groan until
groan
your
until your
mom come
mom come
home.
home, and you be
And you
calling
be
me
calling me
Aldo
Aldo
Capone.
Capone. That was a
Oh
tough,
man,
tough,
yeah,
tough song, bro.
hmm
Like that is probably one of the most gangster songs to me on the East Coast in
That's a
general.
wordsmith right there, bro.
Hands down. Hands down, man. He's his strength and lyricism. And imagine if he'd decided to do all that hardcore, real gangster, like constantly, cursing and calling out women as bitches and all that
hmm
stuff. Man, he would have took
Imagine if he
off.
would have gone the route that Tupac went. You already know off the air, I love Tupac, but
Right, right.
Tupac took that route. I
hmm
love a lot of the music he did when he took that route, but he did take that because if you listen to Me Against the World, there was gangster rap in there, but he was not a gangster rapper.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. But I still appreciate Tupac for way more things than hip hop. I think
Mm-hmm.
him as speaking, and
Mm-hmm.
man, the thing that he said that caught me the most, where he said, if you want to be like somebody like Trump, all you got to do is gimme, 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 take. And I was like, oh, this is timeless.
Mm-hmm.
This is timeless. This how did he yo
Well,
and that
well, hold
and
on,
during
hold
that
on. He's
during
not
that
the only
time,
one. He's not
people
the
were
only one in
bigging.
that time frame.
Yeah, but during a certain time frame, hip hop artists started bigging up
Yeah.
Trump.
Well, one of my favorite songs from Smith and Wesson, well, at the time Cocoa Brothers, is
Yeah, Black
Black
Trump.
Trump. But
Yeah.
what I was gonna say, pop culture wise, he wasn't the only one that was on to the whole Trump thing way back. There's an interview with the I think screenwriter or director of Back to the Future 2.
Mm.
So the character Biff, have you seen Back to the Future?
Yes, Biff is actually. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Based
Go
on
ahead.
Trump.
Yep. Yep.
Biff is based on what if Trump ruled the world.
Yep. Hey, that's some extra ones for you people who want to check that one out because that's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. That's crazy. But again, I think I give a lot of credit to somebody like Big Daddy Kane because I think that his perspective and his consistency is undeniable.
Yeah.
Like I think I've seen him perform probably like once though. I should have made more of attempts, and he still tours, so it's not like a you
I
know
sent you that freestyle he did in Russia.
one
He's like the
room with
only black dude in the
yep
room.
in a room,
And I'm
but
sure most of the people in that room ain't really speak English like that. But yo, he had the whole place
yeah
jumping, bro,
yeah he
rocking back
killed
and
it.
forth. It was going crazy.
Yeah, he killed it as always. He always does, man. Because it's just to me, and this is one of the things about even with sports, I'm on the same tip, which is, and by the way, the Knicks game is on, folks. That's another thing. But
Ah.
it's with sports, which is I enjoy seeing people perform at their highest level,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy seeing people, that have perfected their craft, do their thing. And that's what I feel with Big Daddy Kane. He perfected his craft. He's doing his thing,
Hmm.
and I appreciate that. So to me, when you're in that space, no matter where you go, they could put you in Malaysia, or they could put you with Tibetan monks. As long as you could do your thing, you're gonna kill it, man. And
Yep,
he
yep.
definitely killed it, bro. You know?
Yeah, man, that dude is one lyricist out of. He's one of a few lyricists that is really that high quality.
Yeah, yeah. He's a legend, bro. He's a legend, hands down. He's a legend. Same way I feel. I would say this, as bugged out as some people may think this is. I feel the same way about Fat Joe.
Oh
Like
hell yeah!
I
Hold
went.
on, hold on. Let me soak that up a little bit. Hell fucking yeah! I'm sorry to cut you off, but you
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
you threw one right down the middle for me. Fat Joe uh, is on more not albums, but more songs from back in our day that were inspirational to the rappers who you think made it. But even beyond that, and leave Big Pun out of it, he was one of the first rappers to sign one of those really big production deals to start bringing on other rappers. He put, as big as Cypress Hill is, he did put Latino East Coast rappers on the map.
Yeah, yeah. He was very much responsible for that, along with a bunch of other people too.
And he's had, was it, I think he's had like multi-platinum hits in like 3 or 4 decades. He's got a bunch of bona fides that a lot of people aren't willing to recognize.
Right, right. I think with him, the thing is, I keep it real, which is when I was growing up, I listened to his music a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated that song. When he had that song, Shit Is Real,
Mm-hmm.
that just, I don't know, I felt that, man. I felt that when I was going to school. I felt that like any young teenage boy could, or person could feel that and just understand how going through times trying to figure out who you are, where you're going,
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do, how do you want to get there. Like that's what I heard when I heard Shit Is Real. Like I heard somebody just trying to, yo, I'm trying to figure it out, man, but this shit is real. You know what I
It
mean? Like,
helped. It helped that it was over a ridiculous Diamond DB.
well, that's another thing, right? Where I gotta give DITC a lot of credit because I'm telling you, I was Showbiz and AG
Yep, I was
fan
about to say
from jump.
Showbiz, Andre the Giant,
Yeah,
boy.
from jump.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got their first tape and I was like, "Oh, this shit is fire. How come I don't hear this shit on the radio like that?" I hear the hit songs, but I didn't hear the rest of the album. The album is dope, son. And then Lord Finesse to me, that
Oh.
first album, Funky Technician, that Funky Technician album, woo, the production on that, and
Mm-hmm.
Premier was on that too. And guess who was involved in bringing Lord Finesse to the studio and to the labels? Guru from Gangstar.
That makes sense.
Guru found his tape and brought it to the record label and said, yo, put him on. And that's when he started going to where? Studios
Yep,
and that
D&D
whole D&D.
Studios.
Yep, that's when that whole thing started to combine, and you had DITC, you had DJ Premier, and you had
Yep.
all these groups of people making music in this same production studio, and it stayed like that for a minute. During the
Mm-hmm.
90s, that
During the
was the
90s, D&D Studios was one of the most popular studios to record in New York.
recording, man. You know what I'm saying? So those days, man. But now I gotta listen to that song, Funky Technician. I gotta listen to that album. I gotta listen to that album. It's a lot of work there, man.
I was just actually had, because I've got a huge hip hop and old school hip hop playlist. I was just listening to Showbiz and AG the other day. I
You
get
know what
my
I'm
Fat
talking
Joe
about.
hits here and there, but yeah, sometimes I go on the old school playlist. Got some joints in there, man.
Right, right. I know, man. I still listen to Diamond D's first album. The
Mm-hmm.
production on that first album, he's not the greatest lyricist. I'm not knocking him. I think he's one of the few producers that back then rhymed and
Yep.
produced. That's not
Yep.
an easy feat, by the way. Not an easy feat. And he was one of the first ones, and he did a dope job to me because it wasn't a horrible album and he talked about a whole bunch of shit. He had a song on there. I'm gonna say this one, man, for the people. He had two songs that really struck me. He had one song called "Get Away," and it was basically stories about dudes that got into altercations, and unfortunately, at the end of the altercation, somebody died, and because they're partially responsible, they got to bounce and get out of
You gotta
town.
get away.
And that's something that happened back in the day where if you did something, you were able to leave the state and go
Yep.
somewhere else, and
Yep.
nobody's telling you, nobody's following you. You just start a whole new life in Charlotte
I was about to say you hear a lot of niggas when we was young. Oh, he down south.
down south.
I
You know what I
guess he's not
mean?
here no more.
He left because he couldn't stay there, and that song resonated with me so much because I've heard that happen so many times. And then he has another song that's important. Again, this is a uplifting song called "I Went for Mine," and
Oh.
basically that song he's talking about the fact that he had to eventually, work hard, be consistent. Consistency, ongoing theme for this show, folks,
Mm-hmm.
and push his artwork, push his craft to be at the top of his niche. And it finally, paid off for him. But he said, "Go for yours because I went for mine." Like, and I mean, again, that's a
Yep. Yep. I
very,
remember that
and,
song.
and the track on
Mm-hmm.
that track is tough. Track is tough. I'm gonna have to listen to that one after this, folks. I'm gonna keep it 100
Yeah,
with
dude.
you.
Go if we're talking about as far as beats and production, go listen to that first Fat Joe album. It's a lot of that is
Sure.
Diamond D's production in.
I know,
That's
brother. You
that's what y'all call boom bap.
the boom bap. And by the way, if you want to hear some boom bap, there literally is a KRS One album called the
Mm-hmm.
Boom Bap album. To me, which is my favorite KRS One album ever. I have to admit, it is my favorite. I know for some people it's not, but for me, it definitely is. It just is solid all the way through, man. Solid. So anyway,
That is actually a pretty good album. Yeah, it is.
yeah, yeah, you gotta. The last song on there, the production is out of this world, but what he's singing about is even more in depth. And if you get a chance, listen to that last song. I forgot the name of it. I'm not even going to front, but
Mhm.
it's a song about the Bible, and it will make the production is off the chain. Number one, the whole album is produced by DJ Premier, so you already
Oh,
know what it is. And this is when Premier was, not to say he slipped, but this is when he was in a real, real high state in his craft. And the song is called Higher Level. That's what the song is called. That's what it is. But the production
yeah.
on that,
This album is dope. This is the album with Black Cop. I'm
yep,
looking at the
yep,
album list right now.
yep,
Sound of the
yep.
Police. Yo,
Sound of the
this is a
Police.
ridiculous album.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of dope messages and a lot of like dope, and there's some fun songs on there. Don't get it wrong. Like people think KRS One is preachy, preachy, but that's a dope album for anybody wanting to put their ear to that. You feel
Mm-hmm.
me?
Yes,
You know,
sir.
so but yeah, man, we had an like, share,
We
subscribe post.
almost wrapped up at 90 minutes.
But that hip hop part, couldn't help it, folks. We had to go back in the days. We are a generation of hip hop heads from New York City that are not really as, loud in the space as we used to be. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important that we do let people know, what our ears were listening to during that time. So
The space might be suffering for us not being so loud in it anymore.
you make a great point. Bad Guy makes a great point right there. That is the truth. We do need to address that in some way, shape, form, or another, because we do need to step up a little bit more and let people know, like, yo, we here, we
Mm-hmm.
here, y'all. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, that being said, let's wrap up for today, folks. We're gonna leave you folks to do what you got to do. I hope you enjoy the even. Go Knicks, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you
And
guys got me watching again, so y'all better win.
and just try not to tear down MSG while y'all at it, man. Win
Man, New
a
York's gonna be a hot fucking mess. The sooner they win, the closer to a sweep they get, the worse it's gonna be in New
the
York.
worse it's gonna be, man. I'll tell you, man. And
It's
right
gonna
now,
be there's gonna be a shortage of brooms if they sweep this series.
man, it's gonna be chaos out here in these streets. And guess what? I say this. Last thing I'll say is, not only do we have the finals here, the NBA finals, we got the FIFA Cup. This summer is gonna be a mess in NYC and New Jersey. I'm gonna tell you that right now, folks. Pray for us.
Tell you this, Fox News is gonna be bent out of shape because Mamdani's also he's a basketball and a soccer fan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this
They
is gonna be
losing their mind over
crazy.
this dude right now,
They're
bro.
gonna hate him right now. Oh man, that's the truth. I forgot about that too, man. Well, we got some things to talk about too with
Yeah, we
Mandani
cover
next
that
time,
next week,
folks.
man.
You know,
Yeah. All right,
All right.
y'all. Have a good night, and thank you for listening again.
Yes, sir. We appreciate y'all, man. All the best in the future in your endeavors, and we link soon. All right.
Peace.
Peace.